Joining us today. In this presentation, we are going to talk about how to scale and expand your portfolio and boost your productivity by combining Microsoft ERP with low-code. We are also going to show a few demos demonstrating the power of low-code. We are happy to be here with you. I'd like to thank all the sponsors here who made this event possible. I am personally very proud that Oriana is a platinum sponsor among the companies you can see on this slide. György Rácz is the CTO of Oriana and responsible for product and solution development. György also has 15 years of experience with Dynamics AX product lines, and also a very nice person to work with and have in the office with us. And I am Kristóf Németh. I work in pre-sales. I help sales and I'm responsible to create demos and proof of concepts. Today, György is with you in person at this summit, and I will be the voice of this presentation. Founded in 2002, Oriana provides business software solutions of all sizes to enterprise clients. Over our years of experience, we crafted Oriana, now recognized in an emerging software development category called Prescriptive Low-Code Application Development Platforms. Prescriptive Low-Code Platforms is a term defined by leading global research and advisory firm called Forrester. These platforms combine the benefits of rapid visual development with application components and built-in architecture. Our ever-expanding content library serves simple to complex digital process use cases. Today, enterprises, government agencies, custom development firms, and independent software vendors rely on the Oriana low-code platform. What is a low-code, no-code platform? What is the concept, and why is it popular? The speed of business has accelerated to the speed of information flow. However, in order to keep up with the speed-driven business culture, the decision support systems must be able to develop and change at a similar pace. A very important, if not the most important goal of digital transformation is to always have the necessary information available in this high-speed environment. This cannot be achieved, or is very difficult to achieve, with classical development tools and methods. Just think about the old-school approach, where we figure out what we want to develop. Then we look for a development company or issue a tender. We tell the possible vendors what we want to develop, and after many iterations, depending on the extent of the development, they deliver something in weeks or months that is either what we wanted or not. And it was certainly not delivered when the need arose. It could also happen that the need does no longer exist, or that something else is needed instead. Traditional technologies cannot keep up with the expected speed of software delivery. The development and modification of systems to meet the constantly changing business needs is possible only when the development itself is brought closer to business life. For this, we need tools that can enable organizations to respond to changing market conditions and adopt new technologies in real time. Development platforms that do not require deep developer knowledge were created to support this. You can quickly create transparent forms with convenient screen designers. Data models are not only designed from an IT point of view, but from a processing or display point of view, often by the colleague who is going to use them. Newer platforms, such as ours, provide ready-made components and samples as building blocks, templates, or ready-made apps, so that small or even large complex applications can be built quickly from well-designed elements. We already talked about the speed of development on low-code platforms, and now we will showcase a very short demo to showcase how easy it is to make screens and tables from what already everyone has, spreadsheets. In this quick demo, we are going to make a very simple data management application which handles employees, customers, and equipment. We have a spreadsheet with 3 sheets, one for employees, one for customers, and one for equipment. we have some basic information here, as well as we have a column which connects the employees to customers and equipment. In the application, we are going to create a new screen for the users. We define what kind of layout we want to use. We'll use a 2-panel. Use the Excel import function to create what the users will see. We upload our spreadsheet and then see a preview of what we are going to put into our application. We see these 3 sheets. We can convert one of the columns to drop-down menus, and we can also define connections between the columns, between the sheets. We can connect the ID of the employee to the assigned manager ID within the customers and equipment. After that, we load that to the database, give a name to the screen for the users, and then we can just drag and drop for which part of the view the data tables will appear for the users. We will put the employees on the left side and the customers and the equipment on the right. After we save it, it appears in a preview. We save all modifications and then check what the new screen looks like. Now we have the same data, but now in our application, and all this data is stored in a SQL database. On the right side, we have the equipment and the customer list, and when I select an element on the left side, it automatically filters the data on the right side. We also have a form where we can edit all the data that we imported. We have date pickers and drop-down menus for those columns which we converted to drop-down menus. Low-code platforms are designed for rapid development and to give rapid answers to changing business needs. On the other hand, the ERPs running a company's core functions are rarely changing, or the changes do not require extended modifications. Most of the ERP vendors have created their own specific development environment and language. I admit that these languages are extremely efficient within their own environment, though these specific skills require time to learn, or they are considered expensive on the employee market. Low-code, no-code platforms, like the Oriana platform, provide visual tools to create apps and require low, or better to say, widely available technical skills that are easy to learn or can be quickly acquired from the market. It is worth mentioning that modern platforms designed to create generic apps provide pre-designed components to accelerate development. We at Oriana provide both the technical and business-focused prescriptive elements that can be used as is or can be tailored to unique needs. I think we can agree in that ERPs are big monolithic systems that are supposed to focus on our core business functions and ensure that business is kept alive and supported in all circumstances. Such a system should be rarely changed, and the risk of a system downtime should be kept as low as possible. In most cases, modifications can be made by partners or the ERP vendor. Updates are depending on them, and in some cases, the update is forced. Extending ERP functionality with the low-code platform, however, enables us to go with different upgrade paths and options. For example, with our platform, there are no forced updates. You can keep your platform on the version you are most comfortable with and update it when needed. Also, your own developments based on the platform can be updated by you. As mentioned earlier, an ERP is running the core business. Adding more complex functions and altering them rapidly as the business or the market changes represents an extra risk to the company. Using a low-code platform to extend ERP functionalities or build completely new ones means flexibility and safety at the same time. Pick the right platform for the right task. There are many tools available on the market to extend your ERP systems. There are various generic low-code tools and plenty of platforms that focus on business domains. For example, we at Oriana created a platform focusing on back-office functions that need workflow capabilities. Within back-office, we also created apps and templates to accelerate the creation of business value. For a better understanding, let's pick an ERP, like Dynamics, a generic platform like Power Platform, and a back-office domain-focused platform such as Oriana. If there are so many platforms available, when to pick a low-code platform and how to choose between them? It's a very valid question. Let's start with the cases when you should be using low-code platform, then we continue distinguishing them. We already discussed that all core business functions should be built and maintained within an ERP. In the past, in case of functions that were not available in the ERP, companies bought or developed different apps, causing some trouble within the IT, as they had to maintain, backup, do security audits and so on for all of them. Now this can be changed by picking the right platform. If you manage internal or external cases, I strongly recommend to pick a low-code platform that has a focus on back-office support, like the Oriana platform, rather than going for a generic platform. Platforms with relevant domain offerings will accelerate your development way more by having a variety of templates, pre-built apps, and vendor domain knowledge. Rapidly changing apps used to be smaller or were a smaller chunk of a bigger system. What are these apps? Pricing apps, questionnaires, booking mechanisms, and so on. For these rapidly changing apps, you should consider a generic app. One that will excel in this area is the Microsoft Power Platform. There are several cases where the app you create needs to support and manage human tasks through business processes. You will need a tool to create workflows, diagrams, and assess the process with telemetry reports. In such cases, you need a platform that has a strong workflow engine specifically created for business processes. Supporting workflow standards like BPMN is a must if you want to involve business stakeholders into development. In an ever-moving business environment, employees no longer sit in an office all the time to do their jobs. Meanwhile, the access and the ability to create or change business data has become a standard requirement. You should choose the platform for these functions that brings the most business value to you. Sometimes the requirements are conflicting. You need mobile availability, and you may need an offline solution at the same time that need to work with strict business processes. In this case, the solution can be using the relevant platforms, such as Power Apps, for its wide mobile capabilities, and another that supports the back-office businesses with strict workflows. Just remember the title of this slide. Always use the right tool for the right task. Let me tell you about a very common scenario that might be familiar to you as well. A customer goes through digitalization process and finds out that there are legacy systems that they cannot replace at the moment. However, they don't want to stop or have gaps within their digitalization project, so they turn to solutions that can help close the gaps. In this case, cross-system business processes sometimes can only be managed by utilizing a platform that is not only capable of integrating easily with legacy systems, but can also drive the processes via workflows. It's exponentially true in the case of domain-specific processes that utilize data from external systems. If you plan to build an ISV product, even a white label product, you need to take a look around and assess the available tools. Would you run the product on premises or in the cloud? Whether it's built around generic or a specific domain, a low-code platform outperforms an ERP, as all vendor dependencies will disappear. It is also worth mentioning that if you create an ISV product on a low-code platform, you will still have the opportunity to integrate it with any other ERP system. It would be way more difficult if your product would be built in an ERP. Last but not least, prescriptivity or reusability is our friend when we talk about rapid development. The less the development, the more resources you have to focus on business problems. There are plenty of platforms out on the market where tons of small apps and gadgets are available to start your projects. However, only a few give you complex templates and ready-made apps that you can extend and customize based on your unique needs. In our example, Power Apps has tons of pre-made apps, screens, and simple flows that you can start with. Oriana also has these small gadgets, but provides domain-specific apps and templates, as well as that are already focusing on the problem you are working on. Both platforms are well performing on this area. Moving on, let's stick to these three platforms on the top and let's continue the discussion with some new aspects. Let the first aspect be the development time. The heaviest to develop is the ERP itself. Even using Business Central, Finance and Operations or any other, being familiar with Dynamics AX and Finance and Operations development processes, we find that the time from the idea creation to deployment is very extensive in case of Dynamics ERPs. You need to ensure that there will be no changes affecting other department business processes, functions, etc. Also, you may need to sync your changes with your partners and Microsoft release cadence. On the other hand, in Power Apps, it is easy to create and deploy apps or download something from the marketplace. As a generic development platform, Power Apps will let you easily create prototypes, deploy it to a Power Platform environment, and test or use it. Oriana platform is in the middle, while our no-code and low-code capabilities are available to accelerate development. Being a domain-specific platform, the problems the platform is used for are more complex and require a high number of workflows. The second aspect is the project cost. Certainly there is a correlation with development time, but here we need to add the price and availability of professionals and license costs as well. In case of an ERP system, you will need developers with AL, X++, or ABAP knowledge in case of SAP. And these skills are hard to find on the market. Even if you find them, they have a very high price. If you do not plan to develop yourself, then finding a partner who will do the development for you will also impact you on your costs. Using a low-code platform in this case will have more benefits, since these platforms do not need deep technical knowledge, or as mentioned earlier, the required knowledge is more common and easily available. The cost of these resources will be lowered compared to ERP developers. Other factors like licenses are also cheaper, or you do not even need to pay for development licenses. The onboarding time is also related to how difficult it is to find skilled professionals. If you are a customer and want to customize your ERP, then you can either go to your partner and ask them to do it for you, or you can build your own development practice. With all the previously mentioned issues, you can train your current employees to develop ERP, or hire new ones and train them from scratch. Developer onboarding in case of an ERP platform is usually 6 to 12 months. And don't forget, if you develop within the ERP, you put your core system to risk. So I suppose you would only let highly skilled and trained professionals touch your ERP, wouldn't you? Low-code platforms such as Power Apps and Oriana require way less onboarding time. It is easy to find skilled developers or train power users to create apps or at least prototypes or MVPs. Also, these platforms have open access training videos and the ability to learn, develop and test in a fast, risk-free way. Well, as you see, everything goes back to resources. We have already discussed a skilled developer's price at the project cost section. Also touched the question of availability at the onboarding point. Now we will focus on workforce retention. In case of an ERP that requires a specific language to work with, the employee market will be very small. Developer salary expectations are going to be high, which can make developer retention difficult. Not just because it may be hard to compete with the salaries, but also these developers are locked into a technology that is only used for the ERP that they are actually developing. Young talents have already recognized this and try to avoid such dependency. While their knowledge in business is increasing, they may feel like they are locked into a technology related to a particular system, so they often become reluctant to engage with an ERP. On the low-code side, these platforms are rapidly developed. They require technical skills, for example SQL, JavaScript, or Power Query, that can be used anywhere at any company. As developers do not feel logged in, they can focus better on the business and the company itself, rather than worrying about being left behind. Let's take a look at the business areas where a low-code platform can extend an ERP functionality, or where you can create a standalone ISV product. We at Oriana created two different categories to describe the areas we have already met and contributed with our Oriana platform. The first category is called Business Function Processes. In this category, we put business functions that can be used in departments. For example, HR, where the core functions are recruiting and onboarding or exit tools. Typically, HR can be well supported by low-code platforms. Customer lifecycle management with classic CRM functions like contact and contract management are practically shouting for a platform instead of an ERP. The operations functions can fit in both ERP or low-code, depending on your core business or the required level of business support of the function. It is often worth creating these functions on a low-code platform, enabling rapid change and having an integration to the ERP to share the data the ERP needs. Procurement is typically a workflow-heavy field with many approval processes, and in some cases connections to tendering or auction websites are required. These processes must change as the business requires, otherwise the process themselves will slow down the business. In order to keep these processes up to date at the pace that the business expects it from IT, a low-code platform is better over an ERP. The second category we call industry-specific processes. Energy and utilities, as you can see on the slide, from CapEx planning and management to equipment service management, there are plenty of use cases where a platform like Oriana can fit. Financial services. This is the easiest to prove, as most approvals are around financials. In manufacturing, inventory and material planning is something that traditionally used to be in an ERP. However, performance-heavy functions like master planning can be pulled out from an ERP and can free up the computing resources for creating transactions instead. Also, incident and case management processes are often workflow-heavy and for quality assurance reasons frequently changing process optimizations. In the government sector, the biggest area here might be the public procurement and citizen services. There is a false belief that only simple applications can be created with the help of a low-code platform. However, many complex apps can be built with a platform just as Oriana. The design principles and the toolset of a low-code platform enables you to create a framework, and within that framework you can create your building blocks, and from those blocks you can build applications in every level of complexity. With a low-code platform, supporting agile development, having an MVP or MMP is way faster than an ERP or a traditional development cycle. The speed of a low-code leads to the assumption that the platform like ours is only fit for less complex tasks. So let's see some examples of complex apps created within the platform. When you log into the application, you can use a username and password, or you could also connect it to an Active Directory, or even use the Azure AD. The application supports multiple languages, so you can have your own native language when you use the app. This application is built to manage estimation requests. We have a form to start a new request where we fill in all the necessary data for the estimation to be done. What's the subject, what the size of the database, what is the actual version, as well as set deadlines for the colleagues for the deadline of the estimation and the offer. We can also select a number of add-ons that the client use. We can also add members to this certain request. This will also control rights access, documents and data of this request. After we filled in all the necessary data, we click Save and start the workflow. It created a new record here and started an approval process. On another tab here, we can attach notes to the request. These are informal notes to the colleagues to see. We can attach documents, we can upload a file. We can also upload documents request, which will be accessible by the members who we defined. These documents can be stored on the application server or in a document management system like SharePoint. We can also take a look at the workflow graph and see which steps it will take and how it will progress. The approval tasks themselves are very simple. Someone just have to click approve and then the workflow goes to the next step. As mentioned, we can connect to a SharePoint site, which means that we can create a folder for each request and put all the documents which are attached or generated within the application to the set folder, which we, from the application side, can even control the members and accessibility. In the early ages of the Microsoft Dynamics world, most of the customers, partners and ISV vendors believed that if there is a customizable ERP, then there is no question that all customizations and ISV products will be developed utilizing it. It all looked ideal, no maintenance, no need for new database backup and a security plan. Today, we all know that the price to be paid was the flexibility, development speed, and obviously the development price. We discussed how a low-code platform can help complement an ERP for speed and flexibility, but how does it fit into an existing IT infrastructure? When you make a decision about a low-code platform, you need to consider how the new platform will fit into your or your customer's IT infrastructure. We used to say that an IT department should consider using at least two platforms. One should be a generic platform and the other should be domain-specific. This way, the IT can ensure that all the business requirements and needs are met, either with the ERP or with a low-code platform. When IT departments decide to implement a software solution, they need to consider the following aspects. If there is a platform audit, then every app developed on that platform will be audited from a security perspective. Now, every individual business application should have their own security audit and evaluations. The platform should have the ability to integrate with an ERP system and legacy apps, considering new and old integration methods as well, like file transfers or REST APIs, etc. Business apps on the platform should leverage these integrations and should not be redeveloped every time. The platform should support both on-premise and cloud solutions. Even if you or your customer use the platform on-premises, the platform and the apps should not become the barrier of a cloud strategy later on. The platform should be future-proof. ERP systems have well-established software development lifecycle processes. Yet developing on low-code platform does not mean that SDLC practices should not be followed. Built-in or external SDLC tools should be available. For example, we are using Microsoft Azure DevOps as SDLC and CI/CD tool at Oriana. Also, the apps should have a built-in automated testing option or allow standard testing tools to automate it. The Oriana platform can be test automated with any test automation tool that supports websites. Finally, choose a platform where you can get appropriate support. The support can come from the vendor itself or partners, but you will need support for sure. Should you have any questions, we are available during the conference in person, or please feel free to send your questions directly to the email address shown on the slide, or contact us through our website. I thank you for your time and give the floor to György, who will answer a few questions, if any, in the remaining time.